Hi, my name is Peter. I'm here to talk to you about two-voice guitar. Some people call it stereo guitar. Some people call it hybrid. Any of those names work. I've been doing this for a lot of years now. Basically, I discovered years ago that you could install some kind of pickup under the bridge or in the bridge or as part of the bridge of an electric guitar and run a stereo output and be able to play acoustic and electric, switching between them in a song or actually laying them over each other so that you can play them both at the same time. And I do a lot of all three of those different scenarios, either acoustic or electric or both. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the tools that I have found work for me to do this. I've had a lot of people ever since I've written my article that is on this web page that you probably found this video at. Had a lot of people ask me questions, email me, private message me on Facebook or whatever. In some cases we've Skyped and had telephone calls. So I thought maybe for those who learn more visually, this would be a very helpful tool if you're into this kind of thing or if you just want to experiment with it. There's a lot of different ways you can go with it. I'm going to talk about the guitar first. I've used a lot of different guitars. In short, right now I'm only using 3 guitars for this. 2 of them are standard electric guitars that have a Fishman power bridge at the bridge. But this particular guitar that I have in front of you here is the one that you use if you're mainly playing acoustic and want electric in addition. The reason I say this is because this guitar, even though it looks like an electric guitar, is actually really an acoustic guitar at heart. You might notice that this bridge is more of an acoustic guitar bridge. And it has bronze strings on it, which means that for the acoustic part of the sound of this guitar, it's extremely authentic. It's a Crowdster +2 by Tom Anderson, and I've had this one for about 7 years now. Let me go over the controls and maybe that'll make a little more sense to you. You'll notice it has 2 standard, what looks like standard guitar pickups. They're specially designed to work with the bronze strings and the wound third. If you get a Crowdster Plus or a Crowdster +2, don't put electric guitar strings on it. Don't put a plain G string on it. They won't work. I've got a rhythm. I've got a treble pickup. I've got my piezo pickup. They're split via stereo. You actually use a tip ring sleeve stereo cable. My cables are made for me by Lava Cables. There's other places you can go, but they've worked really well for me. And instead of taking the sound and mixing it together into one signal that goes to a guitar amp or to something like that and then to the house, I separate them. The acoustic guitar goes one place, the electric guitar goes another. Now let me just briefly go over the controls here and then I'll explain exactly what happens to the signal. I have right here, I have a volume for my electric guitar sound. Here I have the volume for the acoustic guitar sound, and this is 3-band EQ, bass, middle, and treble for the acoustic guitar sound only. On this particular guitar, there is no tone control for the electric guitar pickups. Doesn't matter on this guitar. I use it like crazy on the others, but I don't need it here. Then it has it actually has 3 switches. One is a little button, and this button switches between mono operation, where the 2 signals are mixed, but I don't use that ever. And then the other position of the switch is for stereo guitar application, which is how I use it. In stereo guitar application, I'm actually sending my signals, as I mentioned. Acoustic goes one place, electric goes another. So now I have two switches up here. This switches between down is electric only, up is acoustic only, middle is both. I leave it there, and I change which ones I'm using or both with foot controls, basically volume pedals. And this is simply a electric guitar pickup selector switch. Rhythm, treble, or both, just like a Les Paul. So this is the nerve center. And the heart of it is this Pod HD500, which has since been replaced by the HD500X. It sounds exactly the same, and I don't need any of the additional processing it has, so I've stuck with this for now. That, and I'm too poor to just upgrade on a whim. The reason that this works for me is because this particular piece of equipment will actually process my acoustic and my electric guitar signals separately. so that I can actually send my acoustic signal in one input, the electric guitar signal in another input. I can mix them together. I can affect them either separately or at the same time, and then send them out as a single signal to the house PA. Over here, I have a POG 2. It is going through the effects loop, and I can turn that effects loop in the HD500 on and off with a foot switch, just like that. That's on, that's off. To the right of that, I have right here something called the EP booster from Exotic. It's always on because it's a more tone knob. Google it if you'd like, but that thing just makes everything that goes into it sound better. Right here I have a compressor, in this case the Exotic SP compressor. Also it's always on because I use compression to make it so that it's easier for my guitar to sit in the mix along with the other instruments. Right next to that is my AG Stomp. It is a 10 or 12-year-old device that does wonders with an acoustic guitar signal. It takes the acoustic guitar signal from my Crowdster and it makes it sound less like a piezo pickup and a little bit more like a mic'd guitar. So then my acoustic guitar goes into the AG Stomp and then it goes directly into the Pod HD500 through the aux-in input. The electric guitar actually goes through all this stuff. It goes into a buffer which is hidden underneath, and then it goes through these pedals and the tuner, and then it goes to my standard volume pedal and then to the input of the HD500. So what you see here is you see this pedal here changes the volume of my electric guitar signal. This actually is an expression pedal hooked up to the AG Stomp, which is right above it. This changes the acoustic guitar signal. Sorry, it's not in tune yet. It will be when I switch to a demo mode. This little knob right here is made by a guy named Dan Burgess. He names his company This One's Mine. He also manufactures the buffer that's underneath. Good guy. This is an expression pedal in a knob form. I use that to change the speed of a rotary speaker or a optical tremolo effect, which is coming out of the Pod HD. If my electric is on, this right here, this pedal, which a lot of guys just use it for volume of the pod, I actually use that to change the amp from a clean sound to a dirty sound. When I go from here to here, the Pod HD500 allows me to change every single parameter of the amp sound I really want to. Volume, preamp gain, bass, mid-range, treble. And I change generally all of them on all of my patches. Over here I have a few things I do with these pedals, and they're always the same. I recommend that you make it always the same so that you don't go from one patch to the next and forget which one is delay and which one is verb or whatever. This turns on an additional comp boost. This turns on dirt. Basically a distortion pedal. There is, in fact, only one or two in the HD500 I like, but that's more than enough for me. This is a quarter note delay. This is a dotted eighth note delay. You need that in so much of contemporary worship music. It's just very common. And then over here I have modulation, and that is sometimes tremolo. That is sometimes a rotary speaker. Those are really the only two modulations I myself use. So, and as you see, there's the depth. I hope you can hear that, but we're going to do a little bit of a demo later here. And then down here, I have my reverb signal. I only use reverb as a special effect. I do not use amp reverb in the room I work in. It's too reverberant as it is, so I find no reason to have additional reverb. So as a result, that reverb right there is only for special effect verbs. Now sometimes I'll actually have a sound where I have the reverb 100% wet, and what that means is it's just a bit of a shimmer. I put that underneath my acoustic guitar. That's really handy when you don't have a keyboard player. It's really handy when you're the only guitar player. It gives you an opportunity to really open up your sonic palette and make a lot of different sounds. So I find myself doing that a lot. Use a lot of delay on acoustic even.
Thank you.